Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's your brother Gabe Romani, and I work with an organization called mytaskia.com. And basically what we do is we deal with porn addicts, men and women. And it's a great system to detox and get away from this weird habit that has caused so much damage to married life, pre-married life, and so on. The question that came from our management, actually, from some of our counselors, was the issue of should a young man, specifically we're talking about men here, and I've discussed this in a previous episode about why it affects men more, because they have to be erect. They're the ones who have to lead, who have to stand strong. However, the question is, should I first become sober, not relapse, and then marry, or should I marry first and hopefully that's going to stop me to commit, to watch porn? And the question is a very good question. And based on my experience, I believe, and my research, I believe that that marriage is part of the healing process. Marriage is part of the healing process. Now, what happens is sometimes porn is, and rightly so, is treated as a drug. They call it the new age drug because of the way it reacts, the way dopamine is released. There's a parallel between that and taking cocaine, for example. However, I wouldn't treat the recovery procedure and process the same as for detox, for alcohol, for example, or drugs. So I go 30 days, 35 days without watching porn, and then the 36th day I relapse, so then the clock gets reset. No, it's not like that, because we are Muslims. We see things through the specs of Quran and Sunnah. And those 35 days, 36 days, they're not lost, like you've done well. The absence of sin is ajr, is doing good. The absence of not being involved in something wrong and stay away from wrong things is ajr, is something good. So you cannot say, okay, the 36th day I committed sin, and pornography is a sin. When you relapse, you're basically disobeying Allah. And now, okay, let's cancel the 35 days. No. And it has an effect on the mind as well if you have that mindset. Because now you're only going to focus on your mistake, your sin. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Don't despair of Allah's mercy. 35 days you stayed sober. It's a victory. Okay, you've slipped on the 36th day. Give us another 35 days of sobriety and not going into it. Right? So that's the way it should be approached. Because you have to celebrate the victories. If you're involved in this, it's an addiction, you have to celebrate the days that you're not involved into it. And when you fall into it, it's a sin, you repent to Allah and you come back on the straight path. The way it is, when Bani Adam walks on the straight path of Islam, he will trip, be it a hole, a rock, something, a block in your way, you trip, you fall, you get hurt, but you get up and you continue walking on the same path. And you don't allow that rock or that hole that you tripped over to stop you on your path or to go back to where you started from. No. You continue on your path from the position or the place you're in. So, in short, I believe from my professional experience and opinion that marriage is part of the healing process. Marriage will help you to stop this because, see, pornography, I don't want to draw the parallel to this extent, but it's a manifestation of a need that was built into us, the need to be intimate, to make love. It's like being hungry, wanting food. Of course, you cannot stop yourself. You cannot fast forever. You need to eat. You need to be intimate too. Allah created you like that. And puberty is the sign of a man being ready pretty much to be intimate. Give or take. Right? And human beings, the way we set up our cultures and our societies, that we deny that fitra, desire, and need to be fulfilled. Imagine if someone would stop you from eating food. How would you react? What would you do to get food? You'd do anything. That is why people fall into pornography. Again, when we deal with these issues, a lot of community members will say, oh, pornography is a problem. Oh my God, astaghfirullah, haram. But they don't understand the person who's stuck in it. The person who is addicted to it. And not just that, they don't understand why. Where did it start from? Where is the beginning? We see the problem in front of us. And yes, it is a problem. Many people do address it now more than before. But not many are willing to adventure themselves to question why is this an issue. Some will say, we should have more iman. I agree. We should lower our gaze. I agree. We should fear Allah. I agree. But why not also talk about why do we deny the natural desire that Allah has built into us? Why do we deny it to ourselves? Some will say, you have to be, isn't it about controlling your desires? Controlling your desires from haram, not from halal. The Prophet ﷺ was not a monk. He visited all his wives in one night sometimes. The Prophet ﷺ was very intimate. Whether people like it or not, the dalil is there, authentic, clear, that he was a very intimate man. The only time he would tighten his belt would be in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Other than that, Bismillah. So how does the community deal with this? Why don't we look at where the problem starts from? We're never going to solve it unless we understand. Do I have the solution? I have a few propositions that I made to communities of helping our youth to get married early, helping with premarital coaching, with selection processes, with opening a few more options for marriage and so on. But I don't know, sometimes it feels like it falls on deaf ears. We need to solve the problem. You're not going to solve just by telling people, fear Allah. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal punishments, for examples, preemptive measures, all kinds of things? He didn't just say, just fear Allah. Fear Allah is the greater umbrella. But in order to fear Allah, we also take certain preventive steps that are part of the means to protect ourselves for the sake of Allah, i.e. marriage, i.e. many other things. Right? We have this skewed view of this problem, and we're never going to solve it unless we broaden our horizons and look at all the Sharia, the Sunnah, the context of the life of the Prophet ﷺ, and look at how they dealt with the issues of shahawat and desire. So, indeed it is a problem. Indeed we have to address it. But we're not going to be able to solve it unless we, inshallah, address it straight up. So going back to the question, yes, I believe that getting married is part of the process to get rid of pornography. The problem is obviously with what I talked in a previous episode, porn-induced erectile dysfunction. If someone is suffering that, which is very likely because of pornography, getting married is quite difficult because you will have a problem. Now things can be done though. If you take precautions ahead of time, you can go to a doctor. There are certain medicines that will boost you, and it's about the mindset and how you're going to feel about yourself. That's going to help you to get over these blocks, because they're mental blocks, and it can realign you. You get your confidence, be erect again, and then part of the process will be to be with your woman, your halal, and to get through these difficulties, right? This is when you're suffering from erectile dysfunction. Others suffer from premature ejaculation. It's a bit easier to deal with, but again, you can discuss with your spouse, with your wife, and hopefully to get there. Of course, it's a bit difficult, isn't it, to discuss, as this is like the first discussion. Imagine you have your, face-to-face, you're getting to know, oh, tell me something about yourself. Tell me something about yourself. Oh, I suffer from porn, induced erectile dysfunction. Or, oh, I'm watching porn, I'm a porn addict. It's quite difficult. Both men and women have porn addictions, yes, but as I said, it has a greater impact on men, and it's a bigger shame for men. Not that it's not a shame for both of them, but what I'm saying is that because they have to be the ones being erect, and they're the ones who you can kind of tell if he's suffering from this, right? So, so yes, it is part of the healing process. I don't believe that if you relapse, if you keep, if you're already into porn, you have no problem, you're not suffering from erectile dysfunction, get married as soon as possible. Fulfill your natural desires in a halal way. This is part of the healing process. You will stop, inshallah, watching porn when you have the real thing, the halal thing. Halal is always better. As for those who are having erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation, okay, you need to start working on yourself, go to see a doctor, see a counselor, but marriage is part of the healing process as well. Be honest. You're going to have to talk to your wife about this if you've not been able to solve the problem with a doctor. My advice is go to a doctor first. Go to a counselor first. See signs of improvement. There are ways to help. Yes, Viagra. Yes, there's some side effects, I know, but doctors can prescribe you the correct amount. It helps you to boost your system. It helps you to boost your confidence. And then, inshallah, you won't have a problem. But if you go into the marriage with erectile dysfunction, with premature ejaculation, you will have some problems. Because you never know if this woman is going to understand or not, if you can open or not, or if you can share these things with her or not. In general, from my practice, what I see with my clients, couples that have good communication, or even if they're not married yet, they're going to get married, and they've talked about this, they're a bit open and understanding this, they can go through the healing process much faster. They love each other, inshallah, husband and wife, and they can understand, they can practice certain techniques and certain things and move on and regain the strength and the intimacy and the love and the feeling and the emotions, inshallah, because it's all connected, and that is part of the healing process. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless everyone. Please make sure you share this video with everyone and subscribe, like, and click on the link in the description to join my Patreon campaign to help me promote and make more videos like this to educate the Muslim community from a positive Islamic psychology background, inshallah. Barakallah feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.